Hello, Dane here at Sit, Stay, and Play again. I'm going to talk to you about one of the small pieces of dog training that sometimes we forget. It's the importance of using a release word when we ask our dogs to sit or down and stay or wait. Um, Here, hold this. Oh, you can't take that, can you? Well, let's imagine. I give you this marker and I say, hold this. And then I back up and I start teaching again. And I talk about other things and I go, let's try this and let's talk about that. Eventually, you're going to get tired of holding this. And you're going to go, I don't know why I'm holding this thing. I'll just put it down. Or, oh, maybe he's forgotten about it. I can pick it up later if he wants me to have it again. I'll just stick it in my pocket. Well, imagine, though, I come to you and I say, here, hold this. And I want you to hold it in your hand just like this until you hear me say the word Thursday. Then I back up and I start talking and I start teaching and going over my lesson. And hopefully you're going to listen to what I'm saying, but you're going to be listening for me to say what? You're going to be listening to me to say the word Thursday, because we have a contract between us. We have an agreement, kind of one-sided. I set the rules, but we have a contract between us when you took it that said that you would hold it like this until you heard the word Thursday. Well, a lot of people struggle with their dogs and a sit and a down and a stay or a wait. The dogs do the behavior just perfectly, and then they get up and they start wagging their tail and they're really happy because, hey, I got something really good. I get paid for that, right? And they ask for their treat. And we tend to, as handlers, go, oh, what a good puppy you are, and we give them their reward. Well, we got a lot of short-term gain there for some long-term problems for some puppies because we've left the dog hanging. What if I hand you this marker and I say, here, hold this, and I walk and I start teaching, and then I finish teaching and I say, come on, let's go down to Rita's and I'm going to buy you an icy. And I've never mentioned this marker. I've given you, you're probably going to put it on the counter over here so we can go for our walk up the street. I've given you a reward for holding the marker without ever ending that behavior, without ever saying, give it back to me now, or you can sit it down now. Same thing happens with our dog. Our dog goes, I sat. Well, Mom, Dad didn't tell me when I get up. I guess I get to decide when to get up. And that's what a lot of dogs think. They know they're supposed to sit, but they think, well, they get to decide when to get up. They know they're supposed to lay down, but they think, I get to decide when to get up. So then when we're trying to do a long sit or a long down, then we find we have problems with our dogs staying in place. Well, it's really easy to get excited about the fact that our dog's sat and forget that one little line that's mentioned on our first week of dog training, for those of you who've done our beginner course, that says release word. Using the release word. Make sure you say the release word. If you say sit to your dog, even if you've not said wait or stay, but especially if you have, there's only 3 things that should come out of your mouth. One is the release word. They get up. The second is you give them a command to do something else, like come touch. They get up. And the third is sit, because they got up before you did either one of those other 2. You need to train yourself that your automatic response when your dog gets up before their release word is not good dog, but it's sit, because you're correcting the fact that they got up. So how well does your dog understand the release word? Well, I'm going to give you a little test you can take home. Oh, maybe you're at home watching now. A little test you can try with your dog. Take one of your dog's favorite treats, or if your dog's not food oriented, one of their favorite toys. Take that favorite treat and tell your dog to sit and to wait, and put that treat right down in front of your dog. Does your dog stay? Congratulations! Yes, you've passed the first thing is the dog stays in the face of a distraction in front of them. Okay? Then you're going to say a word. Let's pick Thursday. You're going to tell your dog, sit, wait, Thursday. Did your dog get up? Well, If they didn't, congratulations. You're well on the way showing me that your dog understands the release word. But if they got up, well, then maybe they think anything you say is permission to get up. In which case, revert back to the rule that you didn't say your release word. You need to tell them sit again and not let them get the cookie. Okay? But let's imagine you put the cookie down and you said, Thursday, and your dog still left the cookie sitting there. Bravo, you've passed the second part of the test. Now the third part of the test to see whether your dog really understands the release word. Say in the exact same tone of voice as your Thursday, okay, if that's your release word. If you use something else, just be consistent. Use your release word, whatever it is. Mine's okay. Okay. If your dog immediately hops up and runs over and gets the cookie, bingo, your dog has a real good, solid understanding of the release word. However, you may find that you need to do some work on staying for a while, or staying in the face of a distraction, or staying when they hear something else other than the release word, before you get up to then staying, and then get excited and say, okay, move that cookie around and get them excited about getting up so that they begin to understand, okay, is the condition in which they get up. It is the contract. Like, hold this until I say Thursday. Hold your sit until you hear okay. So why do I care? I care because I want my dogs to have a good, solid, long sit and stay. I want to be proud and look at my dog and say, look, I can say stay and watch that clock tick by 30 or 60 seconds and maybe give them a sideways glance, but for the most part, know that they're going to stay right there, okay? I want to be able to walk all the way to the far side of the room and back again, and they're going to stay right there. How do I get that? Well, I get that through practice, of course. That's what we do here, is we practice our obedience skills. Why I encourage everybody to get involved in intermediate obedience class after they finish a beginner class, because you've learned the skills, but you haven't practiced them a lot yet. And also, it's going to be practicing that release word. Because if your dog has a hard time staying for a length of time, when you say sit, wait, or stay, if they have a hard time staying there until you release them, it's probably because they don't understand their release word. They know what they're supposed to do, but they don't understand when it ends. So planning the ending from the very beginning, practicing saying okay, the release word, every single time from day one that you teach sit is very important. Not because they need it now, but they need it later. If you're struggling with your stays, if you're struggling with your waits, good chance it means your dog doesn't have a good understanding of release word, and that's the skill you need to back up and work on. Hope that helps you out if that's what your condition and situation you're in with your dog, and enables you to move forward in getting those good, strong stays in our dog training and our obedience. Take care. Have a good Thursday. Bye-bye, everybody.